The first time Alex saw Julian, they were both standing in the center of a crowded rooftop party, surrounded by laughter and music. Yet somehow in a sea of people, they found each other. Alex, charismatic, confident, a Leo who commanded attention without even trying, a rising actor used to being the center of every room, the gravity that people orbited around. Julian, elegant, effortlessly charming, a Libra who didn't demand attention but simply attracted it. A painter whose art was gaining recognition, who spoke in poetry without realizing it. They were two forces equal in magnetism, drawn together like planets on the verge of collision. Their first conversation was electric. "You know," Julian said, tilting his head with a small, knowing smile, "I think I've seen you before." "Probably." Alex grinned, sipping their cocktail. "I'm hard to miss." Julian chuckled, smooth as silk. "Ah, a Leo, I should have known." "And you? Let me guess. Libra?" Julian raised an eyebrow, impressed. "Got it in one." From that moment, they were inseparable. Their love was an art form, extravagant gestures, candlelit dinners in places too fancy for either of them to afford, stolen kisses beneath city lights. They became the couple, the one everyone envied, the golden duo, a perfect balance, or so it seemed. Because while their love burned bright, something darker lurked beneath the surface. A quiet rivalry, a battle neither of them realized they were fighting. It started small, a subtle shift, a glance that lingered too long, a moment when one outshone the other. The first time Julian felt it, they were at an art gallery, Julian's first solo show. Alex had come, of course, dazzling as always, moving through the crowd with effortless confidence. But as the night went on, Julian noticed something. Whenever someone complimented Julian's work, Alex would find a way to redirect the conversation. "Julian's talent is insane, right?" someone gushed. "Completely," Alex replied before flashing that irresistible grin. "I swear, I wish I had half that kind of creativity. But you should have seen me at my audition yesterday. Absolute madness." It was subtle, so subtle that Julian almost told himself he was imagining it, until it kept happening. At parties, Alex would hold court, the center of attention, basking in the glow of admiration. Julian didn't mind, until they realized that every time they tried to step into that light, Alex was already there, taking up all the space. And Alex? Alex started noticing things too. The way Julian would correct them in conversations, always with that charming smile, always just enough to make Alex feel like they weren't quite good enough. The way Julian's compliments sometimes felt patronizing. Like Alex was a beautiful thing to be admired, but not necessarily taken seriously. The competition was unspoken, but undeniable, and it hurt, because beneath it all, they still loved each other, deeply, desperately. But love wasn't always enough. The breaking point came on a night neither of them would ever forget. Julian had just been offered a prestigious gallery deal, one that would put them on the map. Alex had landed their biggest role yet, a lead in a film that could change everything. They should have been celebrating together. Instead, they found themselves standing in their apartment, the air thick with something heavy and unspoken. Julian held up their champagne glass, smiling, but their eyes betrayed them. "To us, then, to finally getting everything we wanted." Alex hesitated. "What if what we want isn't the same thing anymore?" Silence. Then Julian exhaled, setting the glass down. "Alex, do you ever feel like we're fighting for the same spotlight?" Alex's jaw tensed. "I don't need a spotlight." Julian gave them a look. "But you do, and I think maybe—" "I do too." A lump formed in Alex's throat. They had spent so much time trying to prove their worth, to the world, to each other, that they had forgotten why they had fallen in love in the first place. Because love wasn't about winning. It wasn't about being admired. It was about seeing each other, really seeing each other. Alex reached for Julian's hand. "I don't want to lose you." Julian squeezed their fingers. "Me neither." For a moment it felt like maybe, just maybe, they could make it work. But then Julian's gaze softened, and Alex knew. "You're going to Paris," Alex whispered, realization settling in. Julian nodded. "And you're going to LA." The truth was, neither of them would ever be happy dimming their own light, And the hardest thing about love was knowing when to let go. They kissed one last time, slow and aching, a goodbye wrapped in a memory. And when they stepped away, the city stretched out before them, full of possibilities. Theirs had been a love story made for the stars, but the sky was big enough for both of them to shine.